Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast, episode 210 for Tuesday, the 11th of June, 2024. I'm your host, Mark Webb, gamertag, Pearson ID, Steam ID, Webby360G, and joining me on this very fine evening is...
And so Switch.
That's it, just me, just Switch and I, the two amigos. We're the only hardcore people left.
All the only ones available because people are coming back from work and stuff.
Yeah. So it's been a busy week, mate, isn't it? We've had the summer showcase, and then we had the Xbox event. So
And is the Ubisoft one later, or
it's
is it
on
like
in 20
now?
minutes. So we'll probably have to talk about that next week, because I'm not going to watch that and stream this and do everything else.
I don't think I'd watch it anyway, full stop,
No.
to be honest.
Well, I'm going to watch it later because I need to know, but it's going to be shite. But, so I'm just tweeting out that we're live because I forgot to do that. Yeah, so basically we're going to talk about Summer Showcase and the Xbox... the Summer Showcase, the Summer Games Fest and Summer Xbox Showcase. I'll get them the right way around eventually. And I don't know, like when I was watching the Summer Showcase, I actually thought it was quite disappointing. But
it wasn't bad.
But as I say, I watched through all the trailers from both that and the Xbox event again today, and I actually thought there was some decent looking games there in the end. So, yeah. So shall we go through some?
Go for it, mate.
So there was a lot of waffle in the Summer Games Fest, to be fair. So if you're only watching the trailers, it's probably the best way to watch it, because when you're watching it live, it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, please shut up and show me the games. Whereas the Xbox event was just more of, I had a little bit of chit chat, but it was a lot more just game, which was good.
I will say the thing that kind of bums me out a little bit more nowadays, is when you get the I've noticed that most of these shows, you'll always get someone come on and be like, oh, here's a new entry in another franchise that people beloved, and you don't get that surprise anymore.
No, I know what you mean.
It's almost like, oh, what are they going to show next? And then you're just like, oh, here we go. It's going to be so-and-so, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
But, when we get to the Xbox One, I'm quite excited for new entries into a couple of franchises. One in particular, and it even had a little bit of Mad World theme tune in the background, so that's a little hint for people. But let's talk about the Summer Games Fest first, because that was obviously the first showing this week. And an entry that I thought looked pretty good, Phantom Blade Zero.
You're starting from the back there.
Well, yes, I'm going in the order of the trailers, so I'm sorry I'm not going in order that they were shown. This is just the order that the video that I'm watching is in, so I do apologise, but it's going to be easier for me. So, yes, Phantom Blade Zero. This is a game I think that you mentioned that you've been looking forward to for a while, Darren.
Yes, it was advertised, or Sony showed it off last year.
Oh, nice. I don't really remember them showing it off, to be honest. It kind of looks like a very fast-paced Dark Souls type game,
Yeah, I mean, there is, because obviously they showed at the end of the thing that there's like a demo available for people in person to try out.
Yeah.
And there is, in fact, a IGN video of the two of the developers of the game showcasing the demo themselves.
Oh, wow, cool.
A sort of 20 or so minutes, so you sort of get them to hear them talk about it and see them actually playing it. And he stated that it has sort of Soulsy kind of aspects, like in the fact that you can get killed pretty quickly, and you've got like a limited amount of healing items you can use.
Yeah.
But he said the combat is more akin to, say, Devil May Cry.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, that makes me happy. I love the Devil May Cry combat. But it's just when you watch it, it looks very Soulsy, but when you're watching the fights in the trailer, it's very fast and fluid, if that makes sense. But it's just,
yes,
you know, the icons on the screen when you see them playing, that it looks like it's ripped out of the Dark Souls games. And then the way you lock on, it has the little white circle that goes into the middle of the enemy.
If it's not broke, why fix it? Like,
Yeah,
there are certain things that just work so well, and why
yeah.
not just...
Yeah, you know, and yeah, it does work. But when I see that style, I automatically think, oh, it's a Souls-like, you know? So, but no, it looks really, really good. Is this only coming to PlayStation, do you know, or is it coming to other systems?
I'm not sure. I think it might be PlayStation and PC,
Right, okay.
but I'm honestly not sure. It's not like one of their third-party or game studios, so...
Right. I mean, the thing I like about it, it's got a really cool art style and like really like fucked up enemy designs, which I really like about this.
Mm.
Yeah, man, it looks very interesting. It's definitely a game I'm going to keep an eye on now. You know, and that's a positive from Summer Games Fest after all the bitching and moaning on the Discord. So,
All right.
yeah, it looks good. So the next game, Darren, I know that you're looking forward to as well, is Monster Hunter Wilds.
Yeah. So I don't know if I am actually looking forward to
Right,
it, to
okay.
be honest.
Well, give me
I'm
your
having
input.
severe case of a franchise I once loved changed
Right.
to almost not be the franchise that I actually enjoyed. It looks almost more like an action game now than an actual Monster Hunter game. Like, the storyline in Monster Hunter games was always like thin, and to be honest, I don't want some epic big story about, like, in the Monster Hunter world. I just want our village is under attack from monsters, go and hunt some, go to the bounty board, hunt some monsters, make your gear, get some better bounties and go off and do that. I don't need a story. I don't need characters that look like they've been ripped out of the modern world and thrown into this weird fantasy setting.
Right.
It just all seems so disjointed from like the original Monster Hunter games that I played. You've got like these action scenes that almost look like they're like QTE event stuff, and all the hunts I've generally, or most of the hunts I've seen them do, they're on fucking mounts and stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to be on mounts fighting.
Right.
But like boots on the ground, like boots on the ground, no companions, UV monster, mano a mano, none of this stupid shite. Like, that's how it used to be.
Yeah, because
And
the
it
last
was
one you
one
had
of the
that
most
Palico thing.
rewarding games. Yes, I mean, they've had Palicos in them for quite a while now,
Right.
and ever since they were added, it's made the games so much easier than they used to be.
Right.
Because in the old games, it was literally you were the monster's focal point. Like, it wasn't going to attack anything else. It wasn't going to go after anyone else unless you're in a co-op game, in which case it would attack the other players.
Yeah.
But it was always on your arse the whole time if you were on your own. So you had to think on your feet, and it created some really tense gameplay.
Yeah.
And it made it feel even more satisfying when you like took some of them down like a boss and that. It's just like, yeah. So yeah, they seem to have just taken it in a new direction, like for the franchise. And obviously, I, as much as I enjoyed World, I could see the writing on the wall for certain things.
Yeah.
They treated that game like a games as a service.
Yeah.
It had like weird seasonal events and like limited time quests and things like that. So it sort of forced you to play it during certain periods. And sort of drip-fed content, etc. And then obviously Rise came out, and then it was like, yeah, you've got a Palico and a mount thing that you can flap about on.
Yeah, yeah.
And that one was kind of a little bit more like the older ones, I'd say, in a way, outside of the mount and whatnot. But then again, with that, it was just like, oh yeah, we'll stick that on PlayStation and Xbox, like, because it was originally a Switch title.
Yeah.
And then they put it to the PC a little bit later, and then a bit after that they were like, oh, we'll just chuck it on the PlayStation and Xbox. And I was like, oh, I might pick it up on there. And it's like digital only.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I won't bother then.
Huh.
Which is a thing that's becoming more and more prevalent with a lot of games where I'm like, oh yeah, I'll buy that. Digital only. Maybe not then. Stick it up your arse.
Yeah.
I'll play something else. So, yeah, it's kind of a franchise I'm a bit worried about because they could pull a digital only with it. And if it's going to be like some always online fucking games as a service piece of shit, then I'm really not interested anyway.
It's a shame, man, because I like the Forza and Monster Hunter games. I can never seem to get into them the last couple of games, but I mean, I could see, you know, that they're trying to, what's the word, like,
appeal to a broader audience.
Yes,
they never had
the
to.
Characters. No.
Yeah, they never had to. All they had to do was make it. If these companies make a good game, people will come to it.
Yeah.
That's the way it's always been through gaming. You don't have to make it appeal to a modern audience because guess what? There is no such thing as a modern audience. It's just your general audience.
Yeah.
And if you make something really good, they will come to whatever it is you've created.
If you build it, they will come.
The case. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And even if not that, you end up with things like word of mouth or like your favourite streamers or whatever would start playing it and you'd be like, this looks awesome, I'm going to check it out.
Yeah.
And stuff. But yeah, I just remember putting in like hundreds and hundreds of hours. Like I remember like on the PSP one, I put in like over 700 hours with like my friend from work.
Yeah.
Like just going down his house on our PSPs and doing like local link play or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then we'd go down there and piggyback off his Wi-Fi and actually go and actually play other people online. And this was like sort of like early 360 kind of days as well. So obviously like the joining and doing all the online stuff on handhelds back then wasn't anywhere near as easy as it is now when it comes to obviously the connectivity. It was all passwords and lobbies and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And trying to get in and whatnot. But yeah, it was just loads of fun. If people love those games, which they do, this one will probably be right up their street. But I remember when they changed, obviously, Devil May Cry to DMC when Ninja Theory did it, and people were like,
yeah.
And there are people who didn't like Resident Evil 4 either, when it moved away from like the isometric camera to like a behind the character 3D.
Yeah.
And again, people moaned, and similar with God of War, the way God of War completely changed from obviously the Greek origins of the story into what it is now. And now I'm seeing that kind of shift happening with Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's not the game series I remember.
No. Okay.
So it's kind of there in the background. Like when it comes out, I'll probably be interested and whatnot, depending on how the game is delivered. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Okay. All right, well, let's move on then. So another game announced there was Civ 7.
Was that there or was that the Xbox?
No, was it the summer one? No, was it Xbox as well? It? So I'm going to gloss over it until we go to Xbox. Yeah, it's on this. It was there. They had a very short trailer. I think the trailer at the Xbox one was longer. So I'm actually going to gloss over that until the Xbox one.
Because I remember really liking that trailer, actually, if it's the one I think it is.
Yeah. Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah. Looks good. Yeah, like, I mean, graphically.
Graphics look good. This is Ubisoft, though, isn't it?
It certainly looks better graphically than another Ubisoft game we saw at the Xbox show.
Yes, indeed.
Which did not impress me in the slightest, with or without the fucking controversy of the characters.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, the thing is that, I mean, I've gone right off. I mean, I've never I've enjoyed Star Wars, but I've never like been a mega fan or anything. I enjoyed that first Star Wars game with that cow guy.
Oh yeah, Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, but I never got into the second one yet. Don't know, I just can't be bothered. But
I think I avoided it because it was too big file size.
Right. Okay.
I just thought, no, I'm not putting a game on my hard drive that's that big. Like,
fair dues. So yeah, I mean, it looks all right. It's got like some space battles by the looks of it as well, but it's mostly like open world areas running around third person style. Um, I'm intrigued to see some more, but I'm not excited for it at all. I think it's just because it's Ubisoft. I'm just me. And apparently, it says at the end of this trailer they're going to show off more gameplay at the Ubi event that's on
Now
shortly.
or whenever, yeah.
Yeah.
Or when you're listening to this recording.
Yeah. So cool. All right, moving on then. A game that I'm really don't give a fuck about. Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. It's a Quidditch game, and the graphics look like Fortnite graphics, which really
Yeah,
threw
it's
me.
yeah. I mean, I can see what they're doing. I don't think the game's not obviously going to have some sort of appeal to the fan base, but I don't think it's going to have the wide appeal that obviously Hogwarts Legacy had.
No, no.
And yeah, to me it looked like the perfect candidate for kind of like one of those Xbox Live Arcades that are downloadable games, which I
Yeah,
imagine that's what this is.
yeah. So yeah, it looks all right, but not really worth talking about really. Much more than that, you know what I mean? It's like it's Quidditch, big whoop.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a sort of Harry Potter Quidditch game on the PlayStations, like one of the very early model PlayStations, wasn't there, back in the day,
All right.
I believe, or one of the games had a Quidditch mode in it, because people were kind of a little bit upset that it wasn't in Legacy.
Right. Yes. Well, this is probably why it wasn't in Legacy because I've been working on this for ages.
It's different dev studio though, isn't it? It's not Portkey.
Yeah, I don't know who it is. But yeah, it looks all right. Me. A game that does look interesting is a little game that was announced there called Cuff Bust. It's like basically you're these little teddy bears and you're in prison.
Oh yeah.
And it just looks really fucking weird. And you beat up these prison guards and you got to escape the jail. And that's the whole point of the game. It looks interesting. Apparently it's only made by one person, which is even more crazy. And as the trailer goes on, like it looks like I know the graphics look really silly in that, but it actually looks quite intricate. Like the stuff that you can do, you have like someone is like on a computer, like navigating everyone along the map, and you can pick up all these different items like spoons and screwdrivers and stuff like that. And then you go through the jail. There's lots of different ways to get out the jail, and then towards the end of the trailer, like you were controlling a helicopter, like out in the open world, like trying to get away. So it just looks quite cool. You know what I mean? It's just something completely different. Um,
It's
Crazy
going to be a
graphics.
huge, yeah, it's going to be a really good game for streamers, I think.
Yeah,
Like there's going to be so many groups of people like just like teaming up to play this game together and things just all going to hell in a handbasket
yeah,
to much hilarity.
yeah.
So it's going to do well, I think.
Yeah, it looks really interesting. You know, like a bit, especially if you've got a group of friends to play with. I think this will be a good fun game. It's not coming till next year though. So yeah. A little game was shown. I'm going to gloss over some games, mate, that I didn't really understand what was going on. There's a little game called Neva, Neva. It's like a side-scrolling platforming type artsy game, and you've got a little dog
Is
with
this
you.
the one by the... Oh, right. So it's not the one by the makers of Gris or whatever it is.
No, I don't believe it is. It doesn't say that on this little trailer anyway that I'm
There
watching.
were a few that kind of had that sort of vibe to them.
Yeah. Looks interesting though, but as I say, I've just glossed over it because as I say, it looks quite interesting, but it's like not enough was really shown, you know what I mean, to really make a judgment. So, um, Yeah, just going to say hello to Cutty in the Twitch. Hello, Cutty. Welcome to the madness. We did see as well a trailer. Oh, hang on. Let me just go back to this Neva, the end of this Neva trailer thing. So I think it tells you it. 2024. Oh, it doesn't say who. It went really quick. So next is Black Myth Wukong, which I know everyone's excited for. It wasn't a very long trailer at the Summer Games Fest, though.
No, it was probably the worst trailer of all time, to be perfectly honest. It was super short. Still didn't really particularly show gameplay.
No.
And the game's due out in a couple of months. I mean, there's gameplay out there, but a lot of that early gameplay is kind of like work in progress stuff from like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And this was basically an advertisement for their physical edition that does not come with a physical copy of the game.
Lols.
Which is just hilarious.
Yeah.
And then a load of people have also noticed that Xbox is no longer on the release thing for the game.
Yeah, and you know why?
Yeah, because quality issues due to the fact that, well, they have to make it for the S and the S. So, and obviously the S holds things back quite a bit because there has to be parity or something, doesn't there?
Yes.
I still have no idea why Xbox released an underpowered version of, like, just do a digital version of the X and call it the S. It didn't need to be underpowered, like, just strange.
Yeah, just going back to that Neva game. Cutty in the Twitch has just confirmed that it is from the Gris people.
Oh right, yeah, so it's got a beautiful art style, and like the soundtrack is going to be fantastic because the soundtrack for Gris was really really nice as well.
Yeah, yeah. So just going back to the Xbox thing, yeah, it's strange because, so I mean, I've got an S anyway, and I actually quite like it, but they didn't need to do two different powerful systems. They should have just stuck to the guns and just gone, right, this is the console and this is it. It's just because it just makes it easier on the devs then as well.
It's also less consuming for the regular customer.
Yeah.
You're like, what do I want? The Series, the S, the X, or the Series S, or the Series X, or the One, or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, whereas PlayStation 5, it's like, do you want a PS5? Yeah, digital, physical.
Yeah.
Or digital or disk drive. Well, there you go, two choices.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, right, I'm going to move on then. One trailer that I did get excited for. This has all been pretty positive so far. This is unlike us on the podcast. I'm super hyped for this. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. I loved the original Space Marine on the Xbox 360, and I'm really excited for this. It looks awesome. I can't wait to play this in co-op with my friends. Are you excited, or you don't give a shit, Darren?
Oh, I'm actually kind of looking forward to this game. I liked the original on the 360 back in the
yeah.
So yeah, this has my attention. It's Saber Interactive, make World War Z. That's the game that I was trying to think of before. So they've got, should I say, some sort of pedigree in like swarms of enemies.
Yeah.
Because obviously the big selling point for World War Z was like these huge waves of zombies that sort of like crash upon you and your team. And obviously you're fighting the Tyranids in this. Is it the Tyranids or the Gene Stealers or one of those kind of things anyway? So you're just like coming up against like waves of enemies.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting it to be good.
Yeah. I'm excited, and I know a few people in the community will also buy this, and we'll get some good co-op going as well. So that's got me even more excited. I do like a bit of Warhammer. Cool. Okay, right. Next is something that you'd probably. I don't know if you got excited for this or not. Actually, Character reveals for Street Fighter 6. Terry, Elena, May, and M. Bison.
Mai,
Whatever. Yeah, same thing.
It was kind of one of those things where at first I was like, oh shit, it's happening. We're finally getting like Capcom versus SNK 3. Like after all these years, because obviously it was like you had a couple of characters from Street Fighter. Fair enough, they're newer characters. And then Terry turned up and I was like, oh, is he just going to be a DLC character? And then Mai turned up and I was like, oh shit. Like I was waiting for then more SNK characters to turn up because I think people would have lost their collective shit because the Capcom versus SNK games are very fondly regarded. I even liked the SNK versus Capcom, which was the one that the SNK developers did.
Right.
But yeah, unfortunately, it was just a character reveal. To be honest, like I put in the chat, I'm not a fan of characters from other fighting franchises turning up in other people's fighting games or in other companies' fighting games. Right. They should just stick to their own. And the main reason for that is there's still Street Fighter characters that aren't in the game. And yet, fuck them, we'll just put in characters from another franchise altogether in there instead.
Okay.
And it's like I'd rather Terry and Mai weren't in the game and they put in like a Buki and like some other character from Street Fighter actually in it.
Fair enough.
And Bison, I'd rather have Sagat, to be perfectly honest, or Balrog. Hell, I'd rather have Dudley in this because I think he's a freaking awesome character. He's a fun character to play from like Street Fighter 3 and such. And Elena, I was glad and happy to see Elena in it because I do like Elena from Street Fighter 3, and then she obviously made an appearance in Street Fighter 5, I believe. Or was it 4? I can't remember. So, yeah. I mean, it's just basically another advertisement for another £25 character pass.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm not really into these games, but I was just unsure like what your feelings would be because they're very spread out, these characters, summer to winter this summer to winter next year. That's quite a long time, just a long
spread
for
they
four
just
characters.
they just had their last one. So they obviously did season 1, which was like ended on Akuma, which was the last one we got recently. And then they're obviously teeing up the next lot.
Right.
To last over. I mean, like we've said before, haven't we? Most fighting games now, they're almost released like a base game and then they just drip feed you content.
Yeah.
Whereas back in the day, you'd get 2 years and another game. Or in the case of King of Fighters, you'd actually get a game every year.
Back in the day.
From 94 all the way up to 2000, 2001, I think. And then they changed to like 13 and did numbers rather than the year.
Yeah.
I'm
going to move on because I've noticed, we're taking quite a long time just to get through the summer ones.
Oh, that's fair enough.
And Xbox, I want to spend a bit of time on Xbox, so I'm just going to briefly gloss over a few things. Dragon Ball.
Sparking Zero, isn't it?
Exciting.
Yeah, I mean, no, I didn't. I loved the Dragon Ball Budokai games. I didn't like the Tenkaichi Budokai games.
Fair dues.
I prefer my 2D fighters to flapping about in 3D arenas getting spammed by fireball and projectiles.
Fair enough. All right, going to move on then to a game that I'm really excited for. Delta Force Hawk Ops. This looks cool because I love a military shooter and this looks like a good co-op story type game, all realistic weapons, very realistic graphics. The way the team are moving around and taking out the enemies, all sneaky style. Really good. You can have your canted sights and all that on your weapons. It just looks really cool. I just love these type of games, man. So if you've not seen the trailers, people, check it out. Delta Force Hawk Ops. it looks like kind of the old kind of, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the old kind of Operation Flashpoint games, just a bit more full on, you know? So a bit like kind of a mixture between that and COD, just kind of an in-betweeny kind of game. Like much more realistic, but with that kind of style of dramatization of COD, you know? Yeah, it looks well good. I'm really excited for it, if you can tell. Okay, a game that I don't know, because you like your fighters, Fatal Fury.
See again, I love Fatal Fury as a franchise. It was like when I had my Neo Geo, Fatal Fury 2 was pretty much the first fighting game I actually owned.
Right.
And I know a lot of people like absolutely adore Garrow Mark of the Wolves, but personally it's one of the worst Fatal Fury games in my opinion.
Fair dues.
Like it's got big beautiful art style and everything to it, but I think the characters in it were way too leaning in the comedic side.
Right.
And they felt kind of out of place compared to like the ones from the previous games.
Right. Okay.
Which played it a bit more serious. And yeah, I don't know. It was really regarded amongst the Neo Geo community, mainly from the fact that the game was like one of the most valuable games to own.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I think I bought mine. I ended up getting a second-hand copy of it again later on down the line for about 210 quid.
Wow.
And then I sold it to someone else for 250 odd.
Fucking hell. That's mental. Wowzers.
So yeah, it's a in the fighting community it's highly regarded. But yeah, this new iteration looks good. The art style's good. A couple of the characters already are a bit like yes, some of them are returning from obviously the original game, but yeah, I'm interested anyway, and if it's out or whatnot in the right way, I will pick it up. Okay. But again, I don't think it's due out until next year anyway, is it?
No. All right, I'm going to move on then. Once Human, what do you think of this trailer? It was not really any gameplay there.
Technically, I didn't need to see gameplay because I've been following this game a fair bit from like streamers playing it and that.
Right. Okay.
And it is one of the games I would like to come to console. I think it has been teased to possibly at some point, but this is obviously a PC third-person looter shooter MMO.
Right. Okay.
With survival and base building and all that kind of stuff in it. But it's like completely weird and out there. So it's really trippy. So you've got like very alien-y stuff and then some sort of like body horror stuff and then like surreal stuff.
Yeah.
So it's definitely one I'd keep an eye on if like you're a PC player or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean it's out on the 9th of July, which isn't, it's only next month, so
I think it's Korean developed, so
it kind of reminded me of Days Gone a little bit with the motorbike, but obviously you've got the crazy enemies like a walking house and demons and weird shit. So
buses with human legs and stuff running about and things.
Weird as fuck. But yeah, it looks really cool.
You can kit your character out and craft weapons and ammunition and like upgrades and all that kind of stuff. So it's got a lot of the hooks there.
Yeah, yeah.
For people who like that kind of thing. So I hope it ends up doing well.
Yeah. So. Yeah, cool. All right, I'm going to move on then. A game which called Metaphor ReFantazio, which is basically Persona and all but name. It's made by some of the Persona guys. It's got like really cool kind of cutscenes, like, you know, those anime cutscenes, and the actual graphics in the game look like a Persona game, and even all the fighting and everything is like ripped straight out of Persona, like all the menus and everything. It looks interesting.
It was one of those ones again where like it talked about it, and then the two guys come out on stage and were like, blah, 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 while videos were playing in the background, and I was like, this isn't really selling it to me.
No.
And then after they went off, they actually showed the trailer, and I was like, there we go.
Yeah.
Now I'm in.
Yeah.
That's all you needed to do is to skip all that bollocks, just show us the trailer.
Yeah.
Even though we'd already seen trailers before, and yeah, unfortunately it is the English language trailer, but that's unfortunately what you're going to get 9 times out of 10. But it does look really good. So I think Persona fans and Atlas fans in general should be happy with the game, and obviously Microsoft threw a load of money at them to put it on Game Pass.
Nice. I didn't realise that, and actually it was coming to Game Pass.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, excellent. Okay, cool. Okay, going to swiftly move on to a game I'm really not interested in, but we'll might as well just talk about it quickly. Lego Horizon Adventures.
Why?
I don't know why. Like, why would you do a Lego game for Horizon? I actually, when the trailer started, I thought, ooh, it's going to be a PlayStation Lego game, because that would be really cool with all different PlayStation characters and all that. And there was a Horizon. Not interested, but I don't know. Some people might want to play it, because it's not really aimed at kids, really, because kids, Horizon Zero Dawn and that aren't aimed at kids. You know, they're a bit more mature.
There's a lot of weird things like that where you'll stick Fortnite on or something in, like, during the Halloween events or something. It's like you can have Michael Myers and all these other sort of like horror characters, and it's like the people who play this game generally aren't going to know who the fuck these people are,
that's it,
because they're not old enough to actually watch or take in any of the media that they're involved in.
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guarantee you there's going to be like Horizon actual Lego sets in real life.
Of course they will.
Because they're branching out and doing Lego for virtually everything now, aren't they?
Yeah. That's it, for sure. Cool. Right, moving on. There was a trailer for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Yes.
Which looks really good. I really wish that I'd
stuck around with the first one.
Yeah, and actually finished the first one, but it's probably a little bit because it's really fucking hard. But this looks really good. It really does. So I'm intrigued. I might actually
see that doing well this year, actually, because the first one had a really good following to it.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, I will say that the game's media journalists themselves ended up putting a lot more people onto the game by bitching about it.
Yeah.
Than I think that would have been interested in it in the first place.
Yeah. No, it looks really, really good. Really good story. Very gory. Some sex in there. You know, it looks very mature, medieval, fun times. So it looks good. Next trailer was actually leaked a few hours before the game, the show. It's called Slitterhead. And this looks quite intriguing. It's like you're like a spirit, and you can take over different, like all the people in the city, and then go and kill people and all sorts of weird shit. I just can't.
It reminded me a little bit of like this really terrible game on the 360. Was it called like Mind Jack or something?
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's obviously, it reminded me of that mixed with horror, and it looks really well done and interesting.
It looks pretty fucked up.
But it looks like it needs more time, because some of those animations and stuff were a bit off.
Yeah.
Like when it came to the combat and everything. But the actual premise of the game and everything is like really interesting and kind of cool.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like all the areas in the city look really nice. The lighting looks good. The fighting looks interesting. It's just, I need to see more. But initial impressions, quite.
I mean, it's actually sort of like generally quite dark as well, because you're killing people, like in fighting something that is killing other people.
Yeah, yeah.
Because one of the first things you see them do is like get someone and throw them off a building.
Yeah.
So while they're falling down, he can transfer his conscience to another person, like while he's falling to his death.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, so it looks cool. So another game that looks really interesting and never heard of this before is a little game called Killer Bean. Now, I thought this was a peanut or something first when I first saw it. But
it's a Jap's eye, mate.
So basically you play as a bean, and all the characters in the game are beans. But it's a bit like Grand Theft Auto, but you're a bean. That's the best way I can describe it. It looks really fucking weird and just silly and just fun. You know what I mean? It's like third
Again,
person.
I think it's going to do quite well.
Yeah, it just looks fun, and that's what we need in video games now. Just some fun, and it just looks like silly fun. Like it's like got the old Max Payne stuff where you're like jumping out of windows in slow motion and shooting people, and it's just, I just think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, the funny thing is obviously I'm pretty sure the first time I saw that game shown off was about a year ago.
Oh, right.
And it was around the same time as another game that was like basically just one of those silly games that's probably going to do quite well. The Squirrel with a Gun.
Oh, yes.
Where you just play this squirrel who just picks up automatic weapons and goes around gunning everyone down with them.
Yeah.
Like, even though they're like 4 times the size of your body. Or whatnot. And I think it showed you in the trailer for that where you can actually sort of like pogo jump about while firing your gun.
Yeah.
To obviously boost you into the air and get you higher up and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it just looks good. So. Alright. There's loads of games, isn't there? Unknown 9 Awakening?
Oh, this is the Bandai Namco produced one, isn't it? Or published?
I'm not actually sure because it's not got to the end of the video yet, but it's basically...
It's either Indian or Arabian. It's something like that, isn't it? Like the setting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he plays like an Indian woman. Kind of a bit like Prince of Persia type game. Like, it's hard to say because the trailer was quite short. So you don't really
and it didn't really show particularly too much gameplay either, did it? You just sort of saw kind of...
her moving her spirit out of her body.
Possessing something, moving a spirit about and stuff, so
it looks quite interesting, but yeah, you didn't really get much more than that out of it, really, so one to keep an eye on.
I'll probably have a demo for it, I'd imagine, before it comes out, because it would help for something like that where people are like, I've never even heard of it, so...
Yeah. Quite excited to see another trailer for the first Descendant. I've played...
Well, it's basically almost the release trailer, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've played the beta twice now. I think it's a lot of fun. It's free to play. Not much else to say on it, really. I'm looking forward to playing it. So, yeah. Sonic X Shadow Generations looks pretty fun. I do like a good Sonic.
A huge cheer from the crowd, didn't it?
Yeah, well, it's got old fat Sonic plus new Sonic and Shadow and some of the other characters, and it's like got some of the old... It's got 3D levels plus like side-scrolly levels as well, so...
It looked really good, like the trailer for it and everything, when it was like cycling through all the different games and levels and all that kind of stuff. It was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool, so yeah.
Still see why Sonic has such a rabid fan base.
Yeah. Just quickly, the next one was Dune Awakening. Is this like an RTS game or something? Because all they...
No, it's an MMO.
Oh, is it? Oh, right.
I think it's a survival MMO, yeah.
Oh, I just couldn't figure it out because there was actually no gameplay. It was just a trailer.
Yeah, I think there has been gameplay before for it because it's been advertised and shown off a few times. But this was obviously just something about like, it's still coming. Did it advertise a beta for it or something as well, or am I thinking of another game?
No, I don't see any of that on there. Okay, so it was a really weird looking game called Enotria, The Last Song. It kind of looked like another Dark Soulsy type game, but like really weird looking characters in it, like a metal type.
Yes. Yeah, there's actually a demo for it out on consoles, I believe, at the moment. Yeah, it's an indie game, as far as I'm aware. It's not like a huge budget sort of title, and I think it's sort of Spanish or French inspired.
Yeah, the armour kind of looks like. Yeah.
It's got that sort of conquistador kind of look to it, hasn't it?
That's it, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, again, it looked kind of interesting and weird, like almost like it's people, but they're kind of like one with the armour and things they're wearing.
Yeah, it's weird as. So yeah, it looks cool. So yeah, it's interesting. Just very briefly, they also announced that Alan Wake 2 expansions are out. Night Springs. There's 3 new stories in the game. So
one from each franchise that's linked together.
Yes. And I think the other Alan Wake announcement was at the Xbox one, wasn't it? Or was it this one? I can't remember now.
Was at the Game. It was at the Game Awards. Yeah.
Yeah. So the other announcement is, but I'm not surprised. They've actually announced they're doing finally doing a physical edition. And one of the reasons I think they've done this is because the game actually hasn't made any money yet. So they're trying to get more sales so they can actually make some money.
And they've done it in a sensible way, to be honest. So I believe it's being done the same way as Baldur's Gate, where you basically go onto a website and order it through the website, so they can control how many game versions of the physical copy get produced, rather than them obviously spending millions making a load of copies that might just end up like rotting on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like in some shop.
Yeah, so that's cool. New World is getting an update and it's coming to consoles. So that's pretty cool.
How long has that been out? 2 years, 3 years?
It's only been out about less than that. 2 years maximum. I can't remember the release date now. I can have a quick look.
But yeah, it's an Amazon Studios game, isn't it? Was the other thing released under Amazon Studios?
2021, September, so it has been 3 years, yeah? Almost 3 years.
Yeah, so was the other sort of like Korean Diablo game, was that under Amazon?
Yes, it was as well, yeah.
As well,
yeah. So, cool. All right, moving on then. I don't remember some of this. Dark and Darker. That was like you're basically the whole game's in like this in a dungeon underground and you're fighting skeletons. Looks interesting.
Yeah, it's a PvE, PvP, isn't it? Yeah. Sort of like game that apparently was. There's weird stuff about that game anyway. If anyone's interested, just look into the history of that game. There's been some strange things going on with that. And like legal issues and stuff, but it seems that they've sorted it all out. Yeah.
Cool. All right. We're nearly at the end. I want to skip. No, better not. Kunisuti Gami Path of the Goddess. Looks like kind of a hack and slashy type game. Meh, not interested. But
is that the Capcom-y one or is that the other one?
It's not Capcom. It's Capcom. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because there was parts of it because they showed it off briefly at. Can't remember what it was. Was it Gamescom or something last year? And I presumed it was kind of like a sort of indie-ish kind of game, and then I was like, is it a full game? And then they sort of showed this, and it was. Parts of it looked like it was like RTS, where you was like controlling units.
Right.
But then there was other parts of it where it looked like hack and slashy. And then obviously I think it was revealed to be releasing in August or something, wasn't it?
It's coming out July 19th, this Kunigutsi game.
Right, so I've got a feeling this is going to be a digital only, just thrown out there.
Probably.
Type of a game, because I don't think I've seen anything like pre-order wise for it or about it, and if it's coming out in that short amount of time.
Yeah. All right, next then, there was a really long trailer for the new Skate game.
Yes, what was the first part of that about?
So basically, this company's fucked up the city and they've had to evacuate it. So basically, the only people left in the city are the skaters.
All right.
So, and there wasn't actually really any gameplay at all, really. Like, you saw a little bit. So it looks like you can design the city around how you want to skate, if that makes sense. So, yeah, it looks quite interesting.
Just got the old sort of park editor from Tony Hawk's.
So, and the only other things was Hyperlight Breaker, which I think is the sequel to Hyperlight Drifter. Looks okay. Power World update, don't give a fuck. And
Valorant coming to console.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's all from Summerfest.
Was it? Oh, I thought there was more than that.
I think there was, but this is literally like the best.
A shrunk down, small version of it.
Yeah, like it's like the best trailers, and that's taken us an hour just to talk about them. So,
actually, the Dynasty Warriors, was that there, or was that at the PlayStation event?
I think that was PlayStation, mate.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I think you're right.
I've had the Ubisoft thing in the background.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's all been shite so far.
Have they had like all of the furries dancing around to music yet?
Literally, they had about over half an hour of Star Wars. Now they're showing the Crew Motorfest,
which is already out.
Yeah, they've showed.
Are they going to have a thing about Skull and Bones?
Now they've done that already. They've done. There's a Prince of Persia thing coming as well.
Did you hear that Prince of Persia game they brought out, the arcadey one? The side-scrolling one with the guy with the traditional black haircut at the moment.
Yeah.
That sold like just over 300,000 copies or something.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Ouch. Right, let's get into the Xbox showcase then, because there's a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
And this is going probably backwards as well, but whatever.
No, we can't. Oh, no, well, yeah, I suppose it all depends, yeah.
Well, this is starting off with Gears of War.
Oh.
And then, well, I can't remember the order that they showed everything off at the show, mate, because I have a trailer video and not the actual official...
Right, yeah, I know what you mean.
Video, yeah. But yeah, I mean, everyone's hyped about it, right? I'm really excited for Gears of War.
I am again.
Yes. I haven't been excited for a Gears for ages because Gears, the last one, was it Gears 5, the last one?
Yeah, Gears, and it was just called Gears then as well.
Yeah, it was just a bit...
They dropped the of war part.
Whereas this looks wicked because it's back to the characters we know and love, you know, Marcus Phoenix. And it looks like a prequel to all the other games.
It is a prequel.
Yeah, because he looks really young. So and there's no chainsaw gun either, which is quite interesting.
I mean, it makes sense. Like to me, I will say, like over these two shows and stuff, I think there's been some pretty well done trailers.
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%.
And this was one of the ones that I was like, yeah, that was a really well done trailer. It sort of started off, and you're like, oh, it's Gears.
Yeah.
And then you're like, hold on, that doesn't look like old decrepit Marcus from the new games. That looks like the Marcus we know.
Yeah.
Oh, I can hear hints of like a version of Mad World being spliced in with this, which takes me right back to the nostalgia from the first game.
Yeah, I got chills, man, when I heard that.
Yeah. And then at the end, it's like, oh, it's Dom, and you get in like a bit of the old fucking choked up and that, and being like, oh man, I remember when I used to adore this franchise.
Yes. And this is what Xbox needs to do, right? Because like I've been on a right downer when it's come to Xbox the last year or two. You know, and as I've been mentioning on the podcast, I've been going back and playing older games because like the heyday of Xbox I loved. And throughout the Xbox show, like I got hints that they're going back to that kind of time, if that makes sense.
Well, Phil Spencer has always said that it takes time to start to course correct.
Yeah.
So obviously course corrections that were made saying like 6 years ago are only starting to sort of pay off now, because obviously the development time for a game is just a lot longer than it used to be, which is why all of a sudden you see so many hero shooters just sprouting out the ground at the same time.
Oh, yeah, generic hero shooter 7, you know what I mean? It's like, fuck's sake, just, yeah, I get it. So, no, I'm really hyped for this. There's no release date, obviously. It's just an announcement trailer, but I'm really excited for this. Really, really excited. And it's only a little trailer, so...
I think it's a very wise decision as well, because it can't just have been me personally that just didn't gel with like the newer versions of the game with the newer characters and seeing all of your old favourites as like frail old people.
Yeah.
And then obviously the cog being kind of villainous and stuff. It was just like, what are you doing? Kind of thing. Like 4 was so bad, I never finished it. I avoided 5 because it was obviously tied into the same thing. And now it's like, let's go back to the characters people love. Let's play on nostalgia from people who obviously played that game like years ago when they were like younger or teenagers or whatever.
Yeah.
And it could also start, they could also use this game as like a soft reboot.
Yeah, they could do. Yeah. 100%, mate. So yeah, I'm excited. It was a good trailer. Next trailer I thought looked really good, even though I'm going to have a little bit of a moan about something in a minute, but Perfect Dark is coming back, Darren. I am really excited for this. I loved the original. I quite liked the other one they did for the Xbox. Was it a Xbox One launch title?
It was indeed, yeah, and it had like something horrendous like 10 gamer score achievement for completing the game, and everything else was multiplayer based for the achievement.
It was still a decent game, man, but obviously the original Perfect Dark is a beloved game, and, you know, I quite enjoyed the second one. You know, like my one moan about this, and it is just a bit of a pet peeve, is they've really fucked with Joanna Dark's character model.
Oh, the design.
She looks nothing like Joanna Dark, from what I remember.
Well, she has, but changed from each game. Like, if you look at what she looked like in the original N64 game to how she looked in, like, the 361 to obviously this newer version, I mean, it is what it is, I guess. You're playing the game mainly in first person anyway.
I know, it doesn't matter, but it's just like, what the fuck have they done? Like, she looked like... I looked... The first thing I thought of when I saw her character, and, you know, people might think I'm mad, but I thought she looked like fucking Buzz Lightyear. With the big round chin, you know what I mean?
Oh, it's the manly jawline.
Yeah, and I was just like, fuck's sake, what the fuck? But, apart from that little moan, like, the gameplay we saw in the trailer looked really good.
Yeah, really good,
yeah.
I mean, it's hard to tell, like, it looked good enough that, like, was that just a pre-done trailer of how the gameplay's going to be, or was that an actual section of the game that we actually saw?
Yeah, because there was looked like there's a bit of wall running going on, a bit of parkour. The gun,
Mirror's Edge style,
yeah. The gun looks true to the original Perfect Dark. Her pistol, kind of all that detective stuff going on. I think it looks cool. I'm really excited for this, to be honest.
Yeah, it's actually not Rare that's making it, is it?
I'm not sure. I thought it would have been Rare, but...
Yeah, I assumed it would have been. But obviously they've probably got their hands full with Sea of Thieves.
Yeah. At
the moment.
Yeah.
And probably doing other stuff for maybe future things down the line.
Yeah.
I'm sure this is like just being used with their license by someone else.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely intrigued. It looks cool.
Yeah, it looks well good. So, yeah, I'm excited, mate. I'm really excited for it. I'm just trying to get to the end of this trailer to see if there's a fucking release date. I don't think there was.
No, there isn't. That's for a lot of the games didn't even have release dates, including ones that are supposedly launching this year.
Yeah. All right. Next trailer that I was been hyped for this since it was announced. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. Now, I know this is a remake, But
It's
wow.
Delta, called Metal Gear Delta now or something, isn't it?
Is it? I thought it was still called Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater.
No, it's just having a name change because obviously everyone who's played the Metal Gear games knows that the third game's kind of the first game.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it's his first mission, isn't it?
It takes place before all the other games do. It's my favourite Metal Gear game, followed by the first one.
Yeah. Wicked. Yeah, it looks really good, like the sneaking, the crawling across the bridge, through the bloody... There's a bit where he's like got a crocodile head on his head, and he's like sneaking through the water. I was just like, what the fuck? It looks nuts, you know?
You remember you could change, like, obviously the camo of your outfit to try and blend in with your environment, and you'd have to hunt and kill things for food.
Yeah, it's pretty mental. Yeah. It looks like what they've done with the graphics is pretty insane. It looks stunning. Even has all the hair physics and all that as well, you know.
I mean, there's obviously a lot of us as well that are just going, oh, I can't wait to see what they do with the bosses. Because let's be real, fighting the bosses in the Metal Gear games is the highlights of those games.
The bosses are mental.
Because they're so well designed, like the personalities and sort of their abilities and what they can do.
Yeah. I mean, you got a hint of one where you're fighting a chopper very briefly in the trailer. It's still called Snake Eater at the end of this trailer. They didn't put any Delta on it or anything. So
it will be interesting to see if the ending still takes like 2 hours or whatever it is.
Oh, fucking hell. Probably.
Because it was one of those games where whenever you thought you'd got to the end of it, it just kept going.
Yeah, I know.
And going.
I remember one of the Metal Gears had like a bloody hour and a half bloody cutscene for the ending. It was like the length of a film. I can't remember bloody which one it was now.
It might have been the first one.
It was on the PS3.
Was it? Oh, so it'd be 4.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Guns of the Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I'm really excited for Snake Eater. So yeah, looks cool. Another announcement. I did not know this game was in existence. A new Doom game called Doom: The Dark Ages. I mean, it's a Doom game. It looks very good graphically. The trailer starts with like some meteors coming down and stuff getting destroyed. I don't think did we see much gameplay? I think we saw a little bit.
Yeah, they showed some of it. Yeah, quite some of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the typical sort of absolute balls to the wall. Isn't there like a part of the trailer where he's riding on the back of a flying demon dragon thing?
I think there was. Yeah. I'm just trying to remember, but I'm just trying to remember it a little bit. I'm just watching it now as we talk, and it's just getting to the gameplay bit now. Yeah, it looks very fast. All the characters look, you know, from the Doom games. The guns look fucking nuts. There's one where you put a skull in this thing and it like shreds the skull and shoots the bones out.
Fragments.
Yeah. Oh, that's so fucking disgusting. Yeah, not one to play when the kids are around. That's for sure. But yeah, it says it's Doom. You know, first person, very fast graphics. Look, as I say, really, really good. I don't know what else I can say about it, really. Yeah, looks cool. It's Doom. I know I wasn't excited for this game at all, but the trailers got me a little bit hyped for it. Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Just because the Black Ops games usually do have really good campaigns, and this is set in the early 90s.
During like the Gulf War period.
Yes, yeah. And just the way they've done the trailer with America, and you've got like Saddam Hussein's statue being toppled, and loads of secret Black Ops stuff, and it's like the history you've been told is not true or something like that, and it just looks like, you know, the classic kind of blockbuster movie, but in a game, you know. So yeah, I'm hyped for it, especially because the last COD, like the campaign was a bit average. So it'd be nice to have a COD game that's back to being fucking great, a great campaign. And apparently the new zombies mode's meant to be really good for this as well, because I think the zombies mode in the most recent COD was a little bit disappointing, being in the open world.
It sounded good though back in the when it was announced.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's an interesting way of doing it, but I don't, like you say, I don't think it vibed with the players.
No, it didn't vibe. I think
they were just more used to the fact of it. To be real, like for me, the early zombies modes for the COD games basically turned it into more of an arcadey shooter.
Yeah, and that's
whereas I think with the newer one, it might have turned into being more of a sort of survival-y shooter.
Yeah, well, because you're in the open world, so it's kind, you know, they gave you really shit missions to do, which took fucking hours, and it's just like, oh, fucking can't be arsed. Just want to have a bit of fun.
You probably missed out on all the celebrity cameos as well, didn't you? Which you used to get in the older zombies maps.
Oh, yeah. But no, it looks good. I'm really hyped for this, and this is going to be on Game Pass as well, so not having to spend any extra monies. So I'm quite happy with that. Mm-hmm. Next game, Dragon Age The Veilguard. It's been a long time since we've had a Dragon Age game.
It was pretty much early launch Xbox One, wasn't it? Inquisition.
Yeah. This...
Was it Inquisition?
Yeah, so I remember like Dragon Age Origins, I really loved. I thought it was fantastic. Yeah. And then the second one was decent, but it tried to push that DLC when you spoke to an NPC in the game, I remember, which was a bit shit. And I have to say, the trailer for this one has done nothing for me, mate. Absolutely nothing.
It came across as being just like it's a generic Western sort of fantasy RPG sort of kind of thing.
Yeah.
With nothing that's sort of like out of the ordinary or different from what we've seen before. But I will say there is supposed to be gameplay for it coming out soon, and
I've seen
a snippet of it, and it visually looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So, no, graphics those games have always had a fan following.
Yeah, I mean, the graphics look good, but it's just the character designs again. I was just like, oh, fuck's sake. It just looks generic, I have to say. And just the character, just the way the characters come across, I just found it in the trailer just very off-putting. But it could just be me. I don't know. It just feels like another one of those games that's made for the modern audiences. But I'll be happy to be proven wrong. You know, I'm a fan of the franchise. Would love to see some gameplay. It's just the way the trailer came across for me was just not got me excited.
Yeah, almost to the point of you're like, hang on, is this Dragon Age?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It must be. Like, oh no.
Right, next game then, which again, I'm not excited for it, but I know some people enjoy these games. State of Decay 3. I never really enjoyed the first two games, didn't play them much at all. Not really into these kind of this style of zombie game, if that makes sense.
I've got a friend at work who loves these games, and he's really looking forward to the third one.
I think they're pretty popular. They're just not for me personally. But no, it looks interesting. But meh. And I'm going to do a big meh now. Starfield Shattered Space expansion. Is anyone going to read?
It was an expansion, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's extra locations and some new content, and it's available now. It's out now.
Oh, is it?
Yes. I just can't be fucked to reinstall it, mate. To be honest, I've played it. I thought it was average, and I've just got no impulse to reinstall it, and it's just a shame, you know. I'd
honestly say if you've never really played a Bethesda game before, you're better off playing Skyrim or Fallout.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
For sort of like the gameplay experience. There's fun to be had in Starfield. It just wasn't for me. And it just...
I get you, mate.
You feel like you're going about and doing stuff more than you're actually fighting and having fun.
Yeah. Cool. Right, next. They've added an update to Fallout 76. I don't give a shit. Meh. That's what I'm going to say.
I think that game's had a bit of a, obviously, life breathed into it due to the TV show that's come out.
Yeah.
And I think there was, like, the player count's pretty high on it.
Yeah.
So it's good that they're getting more content.
Yep. A game I'm really hyped for from the trailer is called Claire Obscure Expedition 33. I really can't wait for this game. The trailer really sold this game on me. It has a really fucking weird story by the looks of it. It's basically there's a big timer on a mountain. It counts down. So it goes from 34 to 33. So anyone who's the age of 33 dies. I think that's the story. And then when it goes down to the next generation, who's 32 dies all the way down to 1 by the looks of things, right? So every year, all these people die when the timer counts down on the mountain, and then a group gets sent out to this place to try and defeat the witch who's doing this countdown. That's kind of the premise. The graphics look absolutely stunning. In the trailer, when they're just walking around the world, it's proper high fantasy. You know, there's scenes where you're walking underwater, there's scenes where you're on mountains, there's scenes where you're facing these really fucking crazy looking bosses. There's a scene on a mountain and there's all these hot air balloons everywhere. It just looks really cool. And the other thing that really sold it on me is the character design. The characters all look really cool fantasy characters, but the combat is turn-based. And I love me a great turn-based RPG game. I can't wait, man. It just looks stunning. Absolutely stunning. Can you tell I'm excited? And I've never heard of it before this show. I've really, and it's just wowzers. Like, where did this game come from? How did they keep this such a secret? It just looks really cool. It's not coming till next year. It's coming to Game Pass. It's made by, I'm not sure who the developer and publisher is, but on the end of the trailer it's called a company called Sandfall and a company called Kepler. So I think they might be new people, or a new studio and publisher. I don't know, but it looks really cool. So yeah, I'm really excited for it. Yeah.
I think I caught the end of it when the actual sort of comic books nipped out the room for a second.
Okay.
At one point.
Well, you need to go back and look at that trailer, mate.
I have seen, like, obviously the turn-based stuff, so I remember thinking, oh, it's nice to see people still using turn-based. Because I still think you can use turn-based combat to, like, spectacular story.
Yeah.
Telling advantage.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it looks great.
You literally attack, and it plays an attack animation, and you can make different things happen with that attack animation depending on the situation at hand.
Yeah.
Which will keep things interesting and fresh and make you feel more in what's going on.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Cool. Right, next is an expansion was announced for World of Warcraft. Now, it was really funny because when I was watching this trailer, everyone in Discord was like, oh my God, World of Warcraft's coming to Xbox. No, sorry, guys.
It might.
Yeah, it's just another expansion. But this game has been going for so fucking long, man. I'm impressed that it's still alive and kicking, to be honest.
That's good. It's good that it is.
It's still got a healthy player base, and they're still pumping out expansions.
I think the industry, the way technically the industry wants to go, if it could, is going to be brought into, obviously, thought if a game such as World of Warcraft shuts down.
Yeah.
When something like that shuts down, like a really well-known game, people are like, hold on a minute, what games can just be completely erased from history forever? Awesome.
When did this come out? I think it came out like 2004? Because it came out about a year after Final Fantasy 11, I think. So, and that's still going. Yeah, it's crazy it's still going, man. It's, I mean, I had my time with it. I enjoyed it, but I came off that game way over 10 years ago. Easy, probably even longer than that. Yeah, it came out 2004, so yeah, it's been out for 20 years nearly. It'll be 20 years in November. Wowzers. That's crazy.
Nice.
That's fucking
That's cool.
nuts. Yeah. But no, it's positive, mate. And I'm really happy that it's still going and people enjoying it. So that's good. A game that the next one I'm not super sold on it is a game called South of Midnight. I know we saw some gleamings of it. I think last year. I think it's just the art style. It's people in the Discord were saying, "Oh, the frame rate is hurting my eyes," blah blah blah. But I'm like, it's actually
it's that weird frame rate kind of thing that a lot of things do every now and again. And to be fair, it can be used effectively in small doses and like to emphasise a scene briefly.
But I think it's like going to be like clay kind of animation stuff. You know, that's kind of the theme it's going for.
I mean, that thing might not affect everyone.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, the first one, obviously Into the Spider-Verse, it plays at a really weird frame rate for quite a part of the beginning of the film.
Oh, right.
And I remember it really, like, making my eyes go bizarre, like, funny, and just being like, I don't like this. Ugh.
Right.
Like, almost...
But no, I mean, it's not... Yeah. It's not a game that I'm really interested in. But, you know, it's coming to Game Pass.
I don't know what kind of game it is, particularly. Isn't it like a third-person sort of, like, hit things?
It kind of reminds me... when I was watching this, kind of reminded me...
Like Kena Bridge of Spirits.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It was Kena, yeah.
That type, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could be good. I don't know. I mean, it's just like she's got these powers where she can fly around and do these other bits and pieces, and I'm just like, I don't know. But again, it could be good. I don't know. I've not really seen enough to really make a judgment. I mean, the graphics look nice. Like the way the art style's done, I think looks pretty nice. But it's just, I don't know. I need to see a little bit more to make a judgment call, to be honest. But yeah. Very briefly, Sea of Thieves Season 13 was announced.
Again, I just remember saying it, didn't I, on the thing, like, Season 13?
It's not been out for 13 years, though, is it? But it's like, they've done a lot of seasons.
No, but, yeah, they probably do, like, 3 a year or something, I'd imagine.
Yeah. So, yeah, looks cool. I'm really pleased with that. Still alive and kicking, a great game. They showed off a game called Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn. I'm not really sure what type of game this is. Like, it looks like a very fast and fluid kind of hack and slash game where you have a flintlock gun. That's, you know, hence the name Flintlock. They didn't really show you too much. Maybe like you play this character and you can change into animals and fly around and then fight people very fast. It didn't really give you a lot, you know? But looks average. That's my take on it. Age of Mythology Retold. What did you think of this? You it's to try to start off with these gods, and I think it's I actually thought it was Age of Empires to begin with, because it's, you know, it's like an Age of Empires type game, you know, where you build up your cities and you have all your people and shit like that, and go to war. But it's not. It's called Age of Mythology, and it's like got dwarves and all that sort of shit, and you got, looks like you have some like kind of gods on your team and shit like that, and you go to war and stuff. It just looks, just think of Age of Empires really, but with dragons and shit, you know. It looks interesting. Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred expansion.
Well, cinematic trailer.
Yes.
Like, it's basically what it was. We didn't actually, as far as I'm aware, see any gameplay of the new area or class.
No. But yeah, it showed no gameplay or anything, but yeah. No, nice, it's got an expansion.
Also, while we're talking about Diablo 4, they've added pets to it now.
Yeah.
An update. and you can, when you go in and log in, you'll get a quest. Just do it. It takes 2 seconds, and you get yourself a pet, which works like pets in all of the pay to win kind of MMOs, where they just go out and pick up all the shit that gets dropped, so you don't have to run around and pick it up yourself.
Yeah, that's good. Cool. Right, moving on. Fable. We had a new trailer for Fable. Are you excited, Darren, for a new Fable game?
I hope it's good, because I like the Fable games. I like the Fable games. But again, it's quirky and stuff, but yeah, we haven't actually seen gameplay properly yet, I don't think.
No, not proper gameplay. And I'm trying to understand from watching this, like, is this the character that you play as, or can you make your own
No, I
character?
imagine you make your own character. You generally do in most of the Fable games. You can choose how your
Good.
character looks,
Cool.
I believe.
Okay, because I don't know why they've made such an ugly ass character as like the main character in all the trailers. That's just my personal opinion, but meh. But no, I mean, the thing is, I'm a bit on the fence with it. One, because the characters all look a bit shit, just their design, but also,
I think it's got a look to it, and
yeah, I
it's
don't
pretty well
know.
done.
But it's also
It's just
it's made by Playground Games, and they've always done racing games. So again, I'm just
I
like,
love that. No, that could work really well,
I don't
depending.
know, mate.
There's been a lot of developers that have taken other franchises that people have done and sort of just done their own spin on it and kind of in their own way improved on it. Things like New Vegas, Fallout New Vegas.
I'm just thinking, if I keep on thinking it's going to be shit, and then I play it and it's really good, that's going to be really good. That's going to be cool. Yeah.
And obviously Horizon Zero Dawn used to be made by the people who made Killzone.
Yeah, true. So we will see. I mean, as I say, seen snippets, not enough to make a judgment, but I did enjoy the Fable games. But yeah, looks decent-ish. Not coming out till next year though, so.
Take your time.
Okay, another generic hero shooter was announced called Frag Punk.
Oh, it was that. I was looking through, like, speaking to a mate earlier on, and I said, oh, they showed off another one.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Another 5v5 hero shooter?
Yeah, 5v5 hero shooter, but they've got a little twist with it. There's these cards that come into play, so you use these cards and it changes up the game. Like the enemy team get big heads, so you get easier headshots. And it does things where you can see through the walls and shit like that.
It kind of made it out to be almost like an FPS MOBA in a way, you know, when you go around the arena picking up the different power-ups and
yeah
things.
So we'll see. It'll probably die a death after a month or two, but
you never know. There is room. You just don't know what's going to stick for people.
Yeah, true. Now, I know most people don't get excited for this, but I was really hyped for this trailer. The new update for Flight Simulator for later on this year and for next year. I love Flight Sim. I think it's so... I mean, as a game, obviously, it's a bit mundane, right? It's a sim. You're flying planes. Yeah, I get it. However, I really appreciate it for the technical marvel that it is. You can just go anywhere you want in the world. I just think that's insane in a computer game to be able to do. There's loads of different planes.
You know, at some point, has it actually happened in history? Has someone actually just been like, right, I've played Flight Sim so much, I know the exact route from this place to that place. I'm going to go steal me a plane.
Lols.
I know exactly which way I'm going to go for, the one that obviously he's been flying in the game, so he'll know how to fly it properly if he's got all the stick and everything. And if it is that in-depth, like, that would be, like, amusing to hear.
Yeah, so I've
as
got...
long as no one gets hurt.
Yeah, so I've got HOTAS, so, like, I really get into it. But they're adding loads of stuff to it, like there's search and rescue missions, there's Red Bull Air Racing, cargo transports, you know, all these different like objectives like things to do, which is good because, you know, at the minute, there's a few like objective things to do, but most of it's like literally just choose your takeoff and landing airport on the map and go and do a flight, you know. Or God, of course, if you want to know they're actually adding things to actually do in it, I think that's pretty cool, you know. And the graphics are really good as well from what I've seen on trailer of all these places. As I say, it's more really aimed, I think, at PC gamers. I know it's on Xbox, but I think, you know, if you've got a high-end PC, you're going to really make the most out of it, to be honest. So, yeah, I'm excited. And a game I'm not excited for, but I know Sylvester Almond is Life is Strange Double Exposure. Now, I quite enjoyed the first Life is Strange game for what it was.
Which this is a sequel to, isn't it?
I'm not really sure.
I think it is, because I'm sure the character's Max, which I believe was one of the characters from the first game, or the original Life is Strange.
But the second one I thought was pretty shitty, to be honest. So I'm intrigued to see what they do with it, but no, I don't know. Like, the trailer didn't really sell it on me, to be fair. We shall see. And I think my disappointment was exaggerated because I was like, as soon as I saw Square Enix, I thought, oh, we're going to get Final Fantasy to Xbox finally? No, it's this. Gutted. So, yeah. The next trailer I thought I was really impressed with, actually, because I was really worried about this game from the last showing. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
I thought it looked pretty great.
It looks really good. Like, I like because it looks like the movies, you know, where it has some comedy elements and as well as just
that was the thing that actually I was most impressed by, was the fact that where you just like, this could actually be a scene from like the original trilogy of Indiana Jones movies.
Yes, 100%.
Like the character interactions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It looks fucking awesome. It really does. I'm really hyped for this game now. Yeah, you know, I'm a big fan of the movies, apart from the last one. I'm a big fan of the original movies. And as you say, Darren, it does harken back to those original movies. So it could be an extra movie before or after or whatever. Graphics great. Gameplay we saw a little bit. It looks interesting, first person. But as I say, the thing that impressed me was the interaction, especially with the bit where you're captured by a German and he's taking the piss out of the Americans with their cartoons. I actually laughed at that. It was really funny. So
it was a bit over the top though.
But I like that because it's silly funny, which kind of makes it feel like the movies, because it had, you know, the original movies had bits like that, right? So yeah, I'm excited.
It is Machine Head that are making it.
It is, yeah, Machine Head Games,
which is good because they made like the Wolfenstein games that have been pretty damn good recently. Even though people like, I had fun even with that weird one with his daughters.
No, that was shit, mate. But just because the story was shit.
Oh no, I just had fun with the gameplay. I just kind of didn't really piss about too much with the story. I just thought the game visually was good. It ran really well. It felt really good as a shooter. So it always had that going for it, and the atmosphere and setting was interesting.
Yeah, me and Sly banged through it in one sitting in co-op. So, but no, I'm really excited for Indy, and I can't wait. I don't know if there was a release date announced at the end of that trailer.
I think it's this year. I think it just stated this year. Because so many games get obviously delayed. I mean, this is the thing. Because people aren't even announcing release dates now, you wonder how many games are getting delayed that you never knew were getting delayed.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh no, we're ready to do it. Actually, no, hold on. Give it a few more months.
Yeah. Right, next then is a game that looks quite interesting to me. Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. what is this game? It looks like another kind of Dark Souls-y type game, doesn't it?
It looked pretty good if it's what I think it is. Because there
Yeah,
was a few games like that I saw over the
yeah,
two shows and
yeah.
such.
But again, it's got really fucked up enemies, like really fucking weird design. But the main character shown in the trailer looked like a proper ninja lady, and she's like going fucking crazy with her samurai sword. It was pretty cool. Um, I'm not really sure. I can't remember seeing who makes it, who's making this. But as I say, like the little bit of gameplay we saw, it really reminded me of like as I say, I mentioned before, like a faster Dark Souls type game, but with like setting like in Japan by the looks of it, like really nice setting, looks beautiful, the graphics look amazing. But again, like those character designs for the enemies look again fucked up, man. So yeah, it looks good. Looks really good. Another surprise, I hadn't heard of this before. So it's made by 505 Games and a studio called Lean Z. So it might be Chinese. Not sure.
The Chinese are coming.
Yeah.
Right, we've seen it. They've obviously been making mobile phone games for years.
Yeah.
And sort of like these gacha games and stuff that have sort of taken that part of the gaming sphere by storm.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Cool. Right, next then.
They're just making shitloads of games now. The Chinese, so same with Korea as well.
Yeah. The next one was a game called Mecha Break. That looks quite interesting. So you play as a mech. And there's lots of flying around and stuff in here. It looks a bit like Mech Warrior. You can customize your mech, all different colors and weapons and shit like that. I think that you like these type of games, don't you, Darren? Or not? I can't remember.
Sort of, yeah. I play them every now and again. I know a friend who loves like his mech games.
A bit like Gundam,
Yeah, he's a Gundam guy and likes his Armored Core and stuff.
Yeah.
Robotech.
Yeah. I just thought that wasn't any gameplay from what I saw, but there was a little bit of gameplay. I'm just watching it again now, but yeah, it looks pretty fun. Anyway, yeah, like in a big arena fighting other robots and shit. Yeah, looks interesting. We had a trailer for Avowed. Again, I can't really suss out like if I'm really interested in this or not. They've not shown enough for me, It looks a little bit first-persony like a Bethesda game. It does really reminds me of a Bethesda game like Skyrim, but I don't know, man. It looks quite cool. Got dwarves and shit like that, and all these other mystical characters. But as I say, yeah, not seen enough. What do you think?
Of
Avowed.
Oh, Avowed, yeah. Sorry, I was just watching that Wu Chang trailer on
Okay.
thingy, just to familiarise myself. I'm really looking forward to it, to see what it's actually like.
Yeah.
Because I like the developers.
Yeah. Who's making it?
I
was going to say here.
Obsidian. It's Obsidian, isn't it?
Obsidian? That'd be cool. Yeah. I don't know. I think it looks really interesting with the magic, and I think that looks really cool.
It could be kind of their sort of like fantasy Elder Scrollsy type of thing.
Yeah, it is Obsidian. Yeah, it's coming this year as well. So,
it's nice that they're kind of doing their own thing rather than because it does look kind of weird.
It does look weird. Yeah,
compare it to sort of like most of the sort of games of that fantasy genre type.
Yeah. I mean, I do love me a fantasy game, and if it's and if it is first person, which I believe it is, and it's a little bit like kind of that gives me that Skyrim vibe, I'm going to be all over this, So.
Well, do you know, it's actually bizarre. When I've put in that Wu Chang,
yeah,
there was a video from over 2 years ago.
Wow.
Official 18 minutes of gameplay.
Oh,
so
wow.
the game's obviously been on the go for a while. Similar to obviously Wukong.
Yeah.
Which we've been seeing snippets and drizzles of for years now, and now it's literally a couple of months away.
Nice. Well, I'm going to gloss over Assassin's Creed Shadows, because I think we've seen that loads of times anyway.
Well, we haven't actually seen gameplay. I think this was the first time they'd actually showed gameplay, because the previous one was just the sort of cinematic.
Yeah, just a trailer. So, I mean, I haven't really been into AC for a good few years now. I'm just kind of a bit bored of the formula, to be honest. So, it's not a game I'm going to be picking up at launch. But I'm intrigued to see some of the gameplay, I guess. Have actually had the Ubisoft thing on in the background on another screen, and they had like a half an hour's worth of gameplay on. It looks interesting, I guess, anyway. But one game I'm really excited for, made by Rebellion, is a game called Atomfall. And I don't even know what this game is, but like when they started off in like a little English village with the music, like it actually just looked like a village like I'd been to, you know what I mean, with the little red phone.
You know what I thought of straight away at the first?
Go on.
Is it Everyone's Gone to the Rapture? The game that was on the PS4 where it was like set in like a little English town village somewhere.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to suss it, because it's kind of like set in England, but it's like has there been like a bit like Fallout where there's been an atomic bomb dropped, because there's all these robots around.
There's been an event.
Yes. And there's like zombies and robots to fight and all sorts of weird things, and I don't know, it just looks interesting to me. It really does. I just love that whole setting, like in an English village and all that. Just, yeah, for me as a British person, I'm like, yeah, fucking hell, yeah, this is great, you know, because everything's usually set in bloody America, isn't it? So, yeah, I'm really excited for this. So, yeah, looks cool. And last game that I've got on this set of videos before we talk about the other bits, Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. That's not long away, is it?
No, I think that's this year as well.
It is,
it?
yeah. So out in a few months.
Was there an actual
September, I think it said. Let me watch the trailer all the way to the end again. I'm pretty sure it said September.
Let me actually I'll just have to watch this again. Never mind.
But it looks really cool, and it kind of reminded me. You know, you played that Chernobyl game. What's it called? Heart of Chernobyl or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think so. No, Chernobylite.
Chernobylite, that's it. Obviously, that I think took a lot of its inspiration from the original Stalker game, and I love the original Stalker game, so I'm really looking forward to this. And it just looks really like the graphics look stunning, like with the guns, the enemies, the rain coming down. But it's obviously it's set in Chernobyl. There's been the radioactive event, obviously, with the reactor going tits up. There's all this freaky stuff happening around the area. There's all these weird monsters and other bits and pieces. It just looks like a really interesting game. Like, I just think it looks cool. I'm really hyped for this. I really am. So yeah, we're not far away at all, and it was nice to see a little bit more actual gameplay of it. To be honest, like it gave me the vibes of the Metro games as well. You know,
I mean, it'd just be nice to see this game actually come together, because I think it wasn't long off being ready for sort of like release or more talked about it, and then obviously they had the war breakout, which obviously completely halted production of it. I think, didn't they like move production somewhere else, like a load of them went somewhere and carried on and just made it someone else?
As I know, a lot of the studio actually went to fight in the war as well, so think that's halted it up a little bit as well. Yes, come out the 5th of September. So it's not far away, really.
There's Indiana Jones this year as well.
I think so.
So you've actually got some pretty good games like coming out at nice intervals.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm excited for Stalker 2. I think it looks good. And the last thing that they announced, they're bringing out more variants of the console. 3 new variants of the Xbox console. So you've got a Series X digital. You've got a new Series X with a 2 terabyte hard drive. And there's another Series S, isn't there?
Isn't it speckled as well or something weird?
Yeah. But I don't understand why you'd want a digital Series X. It doesn't...
I don't know, because you want the power of the Series X, but you just don't give a shit about buying physical games.
Yeah, so you've got the Series X with digital, you've got the Series S with a 1 terabyte SSD, and then you've got the speckled Series X with a 2 terabyte SSD. Oh, seriously? Like, it's too much different options now, you know? Keep things simple for the consumer, I say.
Would that mean that, that would mean there'd be like, what, 5?
Yeah, because you got the normal Series X, you got the normal Series S, then you got the 1 terabyte. So there's 2 different Series S's, and there's 3 different Series X's now.
You know, a majority of why they do this is probably just like, oh, we found a way of making it cheaper. Let's just change it.
Yeah.
Bring out a new model and phase out the old one.
Yeah. That's everything, mate. That's everything from the shows I've got down.
Still a fair bit.
Yeah,
It's been reasonable.
Got a couple of bits of news I want to just...
Oh, there was one game you missed out on, which I was kind of like, it was reasonably amusing. The game about the 3 kids.
What?
And it's like set in the 80s.
Oh yeah. What was that called?
Mixtape. I think it's called Mixtape, isn't it, or something? Maybe. But it's got like all sorts of
no, it's set in the 90s, isn't it?
Classic music of it.
Ah, yeah. Yeah,
and
that wasn't
like kind of like a fun, sort of interesting kind of thing, and if done right, could be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's got a really weird art style, isn't it? Like kind of Life is Strangey type art style, but it's like set in the 90s. You're going around doing just chilling out with your mates and going on adventures and stuff. It looks interesting, man.
Yeah. Obviously, a bit of like weird surrealism thrown in as well.
Yeah, does look weird. Yeah, interesting.
And there were probably a lot of other ones you missed off that weren't necessarily shown on the thing. I remember there being a trailer with a kid who ends up befriending a deer.
Right. Yeah, well, there's so much to talk about, you know what I mean? We've been nearly 2 hours and...
Have we? Blooming hell.
You know, yeah. So, you know, it's just like, there's only so many things we can talk about. And there's a couple of bits of news I wanted just to chat very quickly, which I thought was quite interesting. So, apparently, and this, I don't understand why Microsoft are doing this. Apparently, Microsoft is working on another remaster of the original Halo. And I don't understand why. Like, it got remastered for the Xbox 360 or the One. I can't remember now. And then, yeah, for the 360. And then they did another update for Master Chief Collection. And now they want to do another remaster / remake. And apparently it might also come to PlayStation.
That would make the most sense. That's why they ended up... why PlayStation remade The Last of Us Part 1 again.
Yeah.
Because they knew that if they put the original Last of Us 1 out, like it was, on the PC, they're going to be like, what? No.
Yeah.
Can't you make it look better than that?
So that would be quite interesting.
Yeah, make the most sense anyway, why they'd be doing that.
And another trailer that came out this past week, The Thing remastered. Did you ever play this on the original Xbox, Darren?
Oh, no, but I have seen the trailer for this as well.
Yeah. I really loved, like, that game on the original Xbox was fucking brilliant. I absolutely loved it.
It was one of those ones that never really interested me.
It's an actual...
looked interesting, and everyone I knew who played it said that it was good and they enjoyed it.
Yeah, because it was an actual proper sequel to the movie, which is why it was really good as well. So I'm actually really amazed that they're doing, because it's over 20 years now since the original game came out. So I'm excited because I just remember just absolutely loving it on the original Xbox. So yeah, I'm hyped. I'm hyped for it. And I think it's out this year as well. Not sure. I don't know. It doesn't have a date, but looks good. What was this? Oh yeah, so there was some news, some funny news about Call of Duty this week, wasn't there? About the new COD, Darren? About the file size.
Oh right, yeah.
Apparently, I think this might be with Warzone and everything else installed though as well, but with Black Ops 6, the file size on your Xbox it's going to take up is 310 gig. So if you have a Series S, this will pretty much be the only game you'll be able to fit on your hard drive, which is insane. So just wanted to throw that out there. People have been crying this week and all sorts. So, but we shall see, because I think on its own it'll take up less storage. I reckon this is with Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Warzone, and that installed. That's what I reckon, anyway. So take that with a pinch of salt, I'll say. And I just had to lull this week, Darren, because PlayStation on their PS5 boxes have removed the 8K advertisement. Finally.
I think one game utilised it, some indie game, I believe.
Like, and I've been saying since the console was announced that it will never ever be able to put out 8K. Why the fuck are they advertising it? It's false advertising.
No one particularly needs 8K.
Well, that as well, but it's not powerful. I mean, fucking hell, this console gen, games are struggling to push out fucking 4K at 30 FPS, you know? So, yeah, I had a little chuckle to myself about that, because what a load of shit. So, yeah, that's all my little bits of news I wanted to talk about.
When's the Nintendo thing?
I don't know.
I'm sure there's a Nintendo event coming up, which is either going to be...
What are they called? Treehouse? Nintendo Treehouse? Is that what it's called?
No, God, I hope not. No, I'm sure it's Nintendo Direct. It's just their usual one.
Direct.
But obviously there's going to be a lot of people anticipating the reveal of the successor to the Switch.
Yes.
And also that if that's not the case and they just show like other stuff, that's kind of like
apparently it's meant to be in June, but there's no date yet. There's no date.
Right.
So
Sony just don't even bother now, do they? They always just like do that little show at the start, like just before the others go. Like,
well, I have to say though, the PlayStation event was, apart from a couple of games like the Astro Bot and that, it's probably been the weakest one this year, I'd say.
Because but also it was like 30-something minutes or so, wasn't it?
Yeah.
30, 40 minutes. The games one, the Summer Games Fest was 2 hours, and the Xbox one was an hour and a half, 2 hours if you add in the extra Call of Duty stuff at the end.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think for me though, Darren, I mean, that Xbox event, I wasn't expecting much at all. I was expecting it to be really shit because I've been really down on Xbox recently because there's just been nothing good.
Even if people are down on Xbox, they generally, more often than not, have a pretty good show.
Yeah, I think this year's show was really
I've sat here most years and said, like, regardless, that was a good show.
I think it was a good show. I definitely think it's the best show we've seen this year.
Easily, yeah.
Coming. They've got some really good games coming, and that's just got me excited for the brand again. So no, I'm quite happy for what's coming. I can stop whinging so much now. So yeah, all good, mate. All good in the hood. Almost 2 hours, mate. We've done well for just me and you. Literally just talking about them things.
Well, there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we can get back to...
And there's still stuff going on. There's going to be a few things like flicked out over the next few days as well.
So next week we can get back to scheduled programming. Obviously, I was watching the Ubisoft show in the background, and I don't think there's really anything worth talking about. But I'll have another gander later, maybe tomorrow.
They're like Take-Two to have an event.
Not that I'm aware of. No idea, mate.
As you know, like, as a games company, like, knowing you're someone like Rockstar or whatever, knowing that you could just like literally wobble out during this period and just be like, slap it on the table, be like, here you go, here's like a 3 minute of in-game from the new GTA. But have they ever really had trailers at these big events? I don't think they do. They just kind of release their own ones off on their own, don't they?
Yeah. What's that 33 game called? Oh, I fucking can't remember now.
I was going to say Project 33, but it's probably not. It probably is something else completely different.
Expedition 33. I was just trying to see if I could find any more gameplay of it, that's all. Yeah. Apart from that, mate, I think I mentioned before we started recording, I just tried out the test drive demo for 10 minutes. Seems okay. The performance is really shite, but it is a beta, I guess. So I'm hoping the full game runs a bit better than that. But early impressions are pretty all right. And I just want to say very quickly as well, I'm really into Halo again, Darren, like massively. Like with Master Chief Collection, I never, like, I know it's 10 years old, but I never went through all of the campaigns again on there. So I've been going through the campaigns and I finished Halo 3 today. And fucking hell, I forgot how good that game was. I really did. Like the music, the story's really good. And I forgot that they copied the ending of Halo 1 with the Warthog section. You have to drive out of the area as it's exploding. Really good. I'm really loving the Halos at the minute. So it's good. Sometimes it's good to go back to old games and play them again because, like, my memory is fucking awful. And I've completely forgotten the stories to a lot of those games. So it's good to go and play them again. And now I'm on to ODST. Cool. I think on that note then, if you haven't got anything else to say, Darren, I think we can end it here, mate.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. No, I feel like very positive, like, because I think I've been a bit down recently on gaming, just in general, and been trying to get my mojo back with older games. And retro gaming is good. Don't get me wrong. I love a bit of retro, but it's always good to be excited for new things coming out, right? And I think these two events have done their job for me anyway. I'm quite hyped for a few games coming out this year and next year. When it's good to be excited for games again, you know. Cool. On that note, I'm going to end it here. Back to normal next week. Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Unless something is going on that I'm unaware of. Back to what we've been playing. Talk about the Ubi shite thing, I guess, for 5 minutes. And yeah, so all good. So for me, Mark Webb, gamertag Webby360G.
Sensei Switch.
So thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.